Life is like a hurricane here at PAX East. The games on display may have race cars, lasers, or even aeroplanes. And with so many people, it's a real duck blur. Now, some attendees are here to solve a mystery, while others might rewrite history, such as developer Capcom with their recently announced return of DuckTales. Ooh.
Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur. Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales, woo!
My name is Rey Jimenez. I am a producer at Capcom for DuckTales.
They're out there making DuckTales, woo!
I've been at Capcom for a very long time. I actually started in customer service, so I had a lot of direct access to feedback back in the almost pre-internet days. And even back then they were asking for, hey, can we see DuckTales again somehow? You know, that's been stewing for many, many years. A few years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, Capcom and Disney have just started talking to each other about it. You know, we approached them, they approached us several times, and you know, it's taken a while to really get off the ground, but it finally happened. I think it's a very serendipitous moment for it, because I think the DuckTales franchise is just like, the stars are aligning for it to come back, you know, in some way, some shape, and I think this is the perfect way to do it. I've been seeing a lot of articles pop up on the internet recently just about like Scrooge McDuck or DuckTales, because I guess it was in Kingdom Hearts, and a guy who had this really long, very intelligent article about the depth of DuckTales and Scrooge McDuck and how he should be more than just Kingdom Hearts. He needs to come back, mentioning the NES game DuckTales. And on Saturday Night Live, Justin Timberlake mentioned they mentioned DuckTales. I don't want to say too much more than that, but you know, if you guys seen it, you guys know what I'm talking about.
DuckTales. Woo!
Their fault. They're the reason DuckTales is coming back. The game itself is really a love letter to the original game, but at the same time, you know, taking steps to really, I don't want to say bring it forward, but really to do what possibly the original team wasn't able to do due to resources. So about 70% of the game is going to be laid out exactly how you remember it. 30% of the game will be new. There'll be tweaks to levels, level design, level pathing, as well as an introductory level, a tutorial, kind of introduce you to the story, because there's a whole lot more story that we're talking about that we lay out in good, awesome VO. But there's also a new level before the boss. And yeah, I think that the tweaks are really there just to enhance the game, make it flow a little better, that gamers nowadays still remember. But if you're like a big fan of the original one and you play the game, most of your actions, you're gonna be like, oh, I know to go here because there's a secret there, and bam, it's there. So we're not changing it all that much. The guys at WayForward, who are developing the game, they're such huge fans of DuckTales, the game itself, and the DuckTales cartoon, that they filled the game with all these little nods and references. So not only in the VO, which by the way has the original Scrooge McDuck, Magica, and Launchpad voices, as well as official actors, voice actors, not only are there nods in the VO, but in the art, the way it looks, a lot of that is modeled more after the show rather than the NES, because back in the NES, you know, you can only do so much to make it look like the show with 8-bit capabilities. But now they're able to like make the game look like the show did. So they've taken a lot of scenes and color palettes from the show and reproduced that into the game, as well as certain little characters here and there are actually modeled after the show. My favorite DuckTales character? Well, it's got to be Scrooge. I mean, not only is he like fat loaded, he's got the most attitude in the game. He's practically the only one in the show. He's the one that doesn't get into trouble. He fixes it. You know, because you got like Fenton, who becomes Gizmo Duck, but he's always like the hapless hero. And Gyro is kind of the kooky inventor, but aside from inventing, he doesn't really can do much outside of that. And then the nephews, they always get into trouble. That's what they do. So Scrooge he's there. He's like an old guy, but he's there to save the day. So he's got to be the favorite. Which, from working on this game and just hearing the VO, you know, Alan Young is becoming like a whole little hero of mine. The guy's like 94, but he's still able to do VO work that's so energetic and lively. It really brings, you know, for a lot of us older guys that watch DuckTales and play the game, it really, his VO adds to this game that the NES one just could never do because it didn't have the ability to do it. But when you guys get to play the game, you'll hear the VO and you'll be like, man, I'm playing a cartoon, you know, it's really good. The guys working on it and Disney providing the input, they're just, it's like we're just doing this because we love it so much. And if this is successful, not only will it like motivate us to do similar stuff, I mean, it'll motivate us in two ways, you know, not just like from our nostalgia factor, but also, you know, the successful game is always good for Capcom. So it's all right now. It's all about DuckTales. So we're looking right now till it's going to release later this year in the summer. It's releasing for all major consoles for the Wii U, PSN, and XBLA.